Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Test Flight in the Focke-Wulf 190. And covered a lot of stuff. I don't even remember half the stuff that we've covered so far. I've been flying around here for quite a while now, and I see that my aft tank is finally down below 240 liters, and that means that my external drop tank has depleted. So now I need to get rid of it. And, okay, to do that, let me just go to the manual real quick, and make sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, I think that's right. Before I jettison the tank, I need to go drop tank, fuel pump off. So I come down here to the breaker. Disable the breaker. So now the fuel pump for my drop tank is off. And now I need to pull the emergency handle, and that's going to drop the tank. Okay, so that would be this one, pull handle. I'm going to assume I am down one tank. Okay, that worked very well. Okay, so now I need to get my fuel system straightened back out. So now, okay, without a drop tank and without additional tank, okay, in flight. Okay, fuel shutoff valve open. Drawing the fuel is controlled by on and off switch on the fuel. Okay, let me pause a little bit. I'm still a little bit unclear about the sequence here. It's not what I was expecting at all. Let me go to the manual real quick, and I'll come back and figure out what I'm going to do with my fuel system at this point. So I'll see you in a second. And here's part of what's confusing me here. Okay, in the procedures, okay, first empty the rear tank with the rear fuel pump switched off. That's wrong. That can't be right. That has to mean empty the rear tank with the rear tank switched on, and with the forward pump switched off. And that's exactly the configuration that I put it in after takeoff. So that, I think, is wrong in the procedures, and I'm fairly confident. I know I said that I believe the DCS model above my own opinion in 99 times out of 100, but yeah, I'm positive that can't be right. And only when the red lamp illuminates before the white lamp, isolate the forward tank with its fuel shutoff valve. So that's what I've already done. That was the proper procedure for with a drop tank on. I think what I need to do now is read the manual some more and then figure out what I want to do with this handle. So I will be right back. Okay, and I'm back. And I know your instinct right now is to leave all kinds of comments telling me, hey, this is how you do it. I understand perfectly how the system works. I just think that some of the stuff in the manual is telling me I'm either misunderstanding it or it's telling me some contradicting information. Now, the way that this works, the way that this is supposed to work, I know this is how it's supposed to work, is that, okay, with a drop tank installed, I take off and land, or I take off with this selector in the on position. That's going to allow both fuel tanks to feed in addition to the drop tank. Once I'm airborne, I disable the forward fuel pump and I disable the forward fuel tank. That's what I did. That's where I'm at right now, because I want the aft tank to feed and deplete before the forward tank. So that's where I'm really stuck in the manual, is that in one place it tells me to do one thing, and another place it tells me to do another thing. I know that what I need to do right now is allow that aft tank to deplete, wait until I get the white light on for the aft tank, and then I switch the aft tank off to include the fuel pump. I turn the forward fuel pump on and just use the forward fuel tank all the way up until landing. So believe me, I know how the fuel system in this aircraft works. I'm just a little bit puzzled by some of the stuff that I've read. But in either case, yeah, this is going to work fine. It's working exactly as it should. So in my aft fuel tank now, I have coming up on 150 liters and steadily decreasing. So I need to now start making my way back to base. So I know that generally I should have an exact bearing, but I know that it's up to the northwest. So I'll just set in a course of 330. That should get me in the right direction. And then I'm going to use that navigation function of the radio, that AFN2, to home in on the location. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me call ATC Krasnodar inbound. And then I'll watch the indicator and see what it tells us as far as where to fly. This should be cool. Okay, keeping it coming around to the right. Still got a little ways to go. Okay, runway 27. Got it. I'll just keep it coming around. I might need to make another call. I'll just do a request azimuth call to keep him talking.
Krasnodar, in field 1-1. Request navigation assistance. Field 1-1. Krasnodar, ADS, you're heading 6-7.
Okay, still coming around to the right. Was I? No, northwest. Not northwest, obviously. Yeah, northeast. That did not seem right at all. Okay, so I still need to bring it around quite a ways. I know exactly where I'm at. There's Krasnodar right there. I just wanted to use this instrument for navigation. Okay, let me try that one more time. Okay, request azimuth.
Krasnodar, in field 1-1. Request navigation assistance. Field 1-1.
Okay, there we go. Coming around to the right heading. Okay, right there. Okay, so I'm flying in the right direction, had a moderate range to go, and I can see the field. That's exactly going towards the field right now. We're landing runway 27, so I'll be circling back around. We're landing in the opposite direction of what I'm going right now. Let me go ahead and send my wingman home. So we go to position 1. Okay, F11 flight. Let's see here. Where is this? Is it navigation RTB?
Flight RTB.
Okay, and I've still got a ways to go. I've still got plenty of fuel here, so I might burn some off over the airfield. Let me go to the checklist and start doing some read ahead on anything else that I might have missed. Okay, glide and dive, I mean, that's self-explanatory, and those are just, it's important stuff, but those are just numbers that I'll just have there for reference for a later date. Okay, landing. Okay, let me manage my trim again. Okay, landing, reduce speed to approximately 300. Extend the gear. Okay, mechanical indicator pins will be visible. And I'll have the lights on. Extend the flaps between 300 and 220. Observe the signal lamps. Do not exceed 300 with extended flaps. Okay, trim the aircraft tail heavy as necessary. Approach speed 220 to 220. I'm assuming that's supposed to be 200 to 220, but I'll fly it around 220 in either case. Touchdown at about 170. Pull back on the stick upon landing. That'll be to lock the tail wheel and keep you on track down the runway. And retract flaps after rolling out. Never hold the flight stick back when intending to make a turn, so that the tail wheel has free movement. Okay, got it. And then we go into engine shutdown. Okay, that's incredibly easy. I just need to remember some numbers here. So 220, 170 for the approach and landing, or approach and touchdown. Check my fuel state, about 140. Okay, still got good pressures, good temperatures. Yeah, everything is still squared away as far as cockpit indications, as good as I could hope. So I'm just going to orbit here, burn off some more fuel, get it down to the point where I switch back to the forward system, or forward tank and fuel pump. So I will see in just a second. We'll get this thing shut down on the runway, or on the airfield. And while I'm here, what better way to burn off some fuel than just to do just check out the handling of the aircraft. Okay, so let me just put it into a quick Immelman. Okay, 500, speed's bleeding off a little bit, so I'll just bring it over the top. Okay, 350, 250. Okay, that works out nicely. Okay, got the field down there to my right now. Got a stadium and a tower, all kinds of neat stuff. It's an area of the map that I enjoy flying around. It's flat terrain, but you know, if I wanted to push it up there in that direction, I'd have some terrain to get into. Lots of cool water features. Yeah, cool area of the map. Okay, so airspeed 600. Bring it on around and just see how fast we can get her going here on the deck. Okay, down to 135, 125-ish for fuel in the aft tank. Okay, so looks like it's topping out If I pull out of the dive, looks like it's topping out at about 620, 610. Okay, let me trim it back down, nose down. Okay, yeah, very good. And that's without the water methanol boost. Okay, so let me just put her back up into a climb. Circle here, burn off some more fuel. And getting down to about 100 liters. Let me double check. When do I get the light for the aft tank? The light for the aft tank should come on at... let's see. Stand by. I'll do some digging. 1 second. Okay, there we go. I get the switching warning at 10 liters remaining in the aft tank. So I've got a long ways to go. I'm just going to sit here and orbit, do some other stuff. If anything else occurs to me while I'm sitting here, I'll come back with it. And one other thing that occurs to me here as I continue to monitor the fuel, I've got my forward tank up. I was expecting this light to be red. I think some of the documentation indicated that that would be a red light that comes on when the forward fuel tank, I mean, there it is right there. When red lamp illuminates 90 to 100 liters remain in the forward fuel tank. This light is labeled forward. I'm there on the forward fuel tank, and yet it's not the red light. So, I mean, it gives me the indications that I need. It's working correctly, but it just differs somewhat from what I'm reading right here, unless I'm just completely misunderstanding what I'm seeing. Because I'm not to a point where I would have a light of any kind in the aft tank, or for the aft tank quantity. Well, where am I? I'm getting close. But, yeah, don't get a light for the aft tank until I have 10 liters remaining. So I'm coming up on that pretty soon, but... yeah, the light for the forward tank and the position or the setting or the quantity that I have right now, I would have expected it to be red. Doesn't matter. Just one more little thing to learn about the fuel system. Okay, I've been at this for another, 15 minutes, and my aft tank is quickly approaching zero, and I'm just looking for an additional light to come on, warning me that I have 10 liters remaining in that aft tank. And at that point, I will re-enable the fuel pump for the forward tank and switch my lever back to the on position. I don't think, if I took no action at that point, I don't think that the engine would cut out. I might just test that at some point just to see what would happen if I didn't switch the forward fuel pump back on. But I don't think the engine would cut out. I think it would just continue to feed, gravity feed off the engine. But... then again, that might depend on the position. I had this set to completely cut off the forward fuel tank because I was down to between 90 and 100 liters, and at least according to the manual, that was the thing to do. Although, I would have thought that just cutting off the fuel pump would have... well, anyway. Okay, but it should be coming up here any second now. I'm surprised that second light is not on already. Still just holding out here... near the field. Okay, there's 10 liters. That's Hinton tank. And yeah, those lights are definitely reversed, at least according to the manual. I could buy this, it works. It tells me what I needed to tell me. So it's telling me that, okay, the aft tank is down below 10 meters, so let me switch it over to the forward setting on the fuel tank selector. What the heck have I got going on here? Okay, now let me switch that over to the forward setting. Let me re-enable my forward fuel pump. Let me go back to the on position. Now I'm flying strictly off of the forward fuel system, or fuel tank and fuel pump. Let's go ahead and land this thing. Wow, okay. Already here. Okay, so reviewing my numbers here. Okay, approach. Okay, flaps below 300, gear below 220. Okay, well, just flaps below 300. I think I can get the gear at that airspeed as well. So let me bleed off some speed and go some trim. Nose up as my speed starts to come off. And I'll wait for 300 and I'll get the flaps. And then it's going to be 220 approach, 170 for the touchdown. And just track her down the runway using the tail wheel lock to keep her going in the right direction, along with some very, very light differential braking. Okay, 400, well, it bleeds off speed very, very slowly. I'll pull the throttle all the way on back, or at least back to about 1200 RPM. Okay, coming up on 300. Let me go ahead and ditch the checklist. That's out of my way. I'll request landing.
Infield, 1-1. Request landing.
Okay, there's 300. Let me go ahead and go flaps full down. Okay, no reason for me not to get the gear right now, is there? So, yeah, let me go ahead and go gear down. Okay, 250, 260. I just want a 220 on the approach, 170 on the touchdown. Okay, so gear down, flaps down. Okay, good indicators on both gear. Good green lights, 60 and 60. Okay, looking good so far. So let me trim nose up. I'll just settle in here on 220. It's a little too far out, but I could approach it a little bit faster if I wanted to. But I'm just going to get settled in here, see how it handles on the way down, see what kind of a trim setup that I like. So I've got about 10 minutes of fuel remaining, which is plenty for what I have planned here. Okay, trim nose up just a little bit. And my fatal flaw, my bad habit that I always do on landing in any aircraft is I just have a hard time keeping the nose up. I want to be able to see. And for that reason, I always kind of have the nose down like that, but that isn't necessarily what I want on an approach, and rarely is what I want on an approach. And maintaining visibility of the runway as I get in close, I know is going to be a challenge here, but hey, I'll just have to I'll have to figure out something that works on this approach. Looking around the engine, probably in this direction, because I have the intake scoop over there, is going to help me out. And okay, just throttle back up just a touch for 220. I think technically it's anywhere between 220 and 200. I'm so light right now that really 200 is really probably a little bit more of what I want to shoot for. Okay, nose coming back up. Is that my wingman right there? What is that on the runway? Oh well, I'll overfly it, but I might have... in reality, I'd probably go around right now. Because something is definitely there on the runway. Hopefully not my wingman. Okay, trimming nose up just a touch more. Boy, I might be pegged on trim. Yeah, I am pegged on trim, nose up. Okay, that's fine, 220. Just going to flare, sit her down, 170. Once I get into that location. Okay, looking good so far. Okay, throttle back. Just going for a nice 3-point attitude on the touchdown. Floated a little, bounced a little. Okay, not bad. Let me just bring it back over with a lot of braking. Okay. Almost lost it there, but okay, good enough. Good enough. Okay, yeah, she's decelerating, coming to a stop quickly. Let me go some more light braking just to bring her to a stop here, and I will go ahead and taxi back to parking. Wow, okay. So, okay, I made it through that entire thing without crashing. That's amazing, especially considering that I'm heads down so much during these in the manual. I'm thinking about all kinds of other things, and just the takeoff and landing of this thing is difficult. I think with practice I could get that down a lot better and just not be... I think on the takeoff and the landing I was very, very close to just completely departing controlled flight and not being able to control it going down the runway. So tell you what, it's a long taxi back to parking. I'll come back at you once I'm there and I'm ready to start shutting down the engine. Okay, and taxiing back in, there's no sign of my wingman. I hope that wasn't my wingman out there splattered across the approach end of the runway. I'll check on him here in a second, but okay, so I've just got the tail wheel unlocked. I'm just tapping the brakes to bring myself on around into this parking location. And just like always, I might have a marshal out here to give me some guidance, and I need some guidance because, okay, there we go. Just gotta keep it moving forward slowly and it'll bring itself on around. Let me lock the tail wheel. I'll bring it to a stop right here, and let us go to the checklist and see what it says for engine shutdown. Okay, open the cooling flaps fully, and that's going to be this knob. Clockwise or counterclockwise? I need to learn that. Okay, that was clockwise, and that opened them up. Okay, so cowl flaps or cooling flaps are open fully, and oh, wait a minute. Open cooling flaps fully in warm outside conditions during approach and cold weather during taxi. Run engine at 1800 RPM for some time. Hereby monitoring coolant temperature. Must not be above 130. I don't think I have to worry about that at all. It's definitely not warm enough out to make that happen. Retard throttle to the stop position. Switch off ignition, fuel pumps. Close the fuel shutoff valve and press the aircraft electrical power off switch. Okay, so let's see. How do I get it to... Okay, there's a key binding. I think it's... Is it control end? Alt end, maybe? Okay, alt end. Takes it past the stop into the cutoff position. I need to find something on my my HOTAS to map that to. Okay, so that was that. Okay, switch off ignition, so I need to go magnetos to the off position. It's telling me, okay, fuel pumps off. So off, and okay, I just had the two enabled, so they're all off. And it's telling me close the fuel shutoff valve, so I need to go to the off position and press the aircraft electrical power switch to off. So before I do that, let me get the power off all of the systems. So I'll just kind of go around the cockpit. I'll set this back to the FT transmit position where it was to begin with. I'll come around, see if there's anything else I want to clean up. Okay, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and kill the oxygen. I'll go full counterclockwise on the handle. Okay. How long was I in the air? That was a 2 hours total, according to the clock right here that I was in the air. It feels like 2 hours too. But man, this is a lot of fun. I wouldn't do this for as long as I do if I didn't enjoy it, you know. Okay, so I need to kill electrical power. I'm going to get the systems off first and then pull the generator and then get the battery last. Okay, so off. Where am I? What's going on here? Okay, let me zoom in. Okay. I'm depressing the red button, which is supposed to pull them off. Maybe I just wasn't hitting the right place. Okay, now I've got them. I just needed to shoot a little up and to the left. Okay, so systems are off. Batteries off. Whew, let me get the canopy open. And we'll climb out of the aircraft and move on from here. So I think that's all that I really wanted to cover in this test flight series. Just one sortie to take it up and figure out a lot of systems, and hopefully you saw everything that you were curious about. I know the fuel system and the radio was what I was focusing on. I got all that scoped out. The rest of it is very, very standard when it comes to a World War II era aircraft, when it comes to the instrumentation and considerations for pressures and temperatures, and just when it comes to how you fly it. So okay, that's it for this series. So I hope you did enjoy it, and I'll be back next time with something else, maybe the BF-109, maybe something different. But I hope you did enjoy all this. So thanks again, everybody, and I'll see you next time.